Hey, good evening, guys. We're here at Cattle Drive Live this evening. We we've anticipated this week just like we have any other thing. This week's a little bit different for us, Corey. We we're rolling all things National Finals Rodeo.
NFR, baby.
I don't. Have you ever been?
No, I never have. I've watched it a lot.
Right.
But,
Yeah, I've never been either. And so obviously
Really?
my family's no, never been. No, I've been to the PBR finals, never the
That's
national
what I was going
finals.
to say. Had you been to the PBR? You just haven't been to the NFR.
Just no, honestly, it's as you know, show season kicks off this week, and
That's
this,
right.
just busy life and having little kids that are involved in this industry. It's the national finals for me has always been spent at Stillwater, Oklahoma at the AGR. So
At the AGR, you bet.
yeah,
And that's
so,
coming
hey,
up. That's coming up next week.
Yeah, actually, we well this weekend. I mean, we get this is probably the one year that we could have made the NFR, made the trip, just with our schedule, and it's just I don't think it's going to work out. But I tell you what, tonight, hey, we loaded the house down with some major league national finals rodeo, professional rodeo folks that we're going to get to bring to our world tonight. So.
Yeah, that's exactly.
But anyway, hey, let's just get fired up tonight. Let's get into this stuff and let's get rolling and let's talk about segment one, the coffee shop, current events within agriculture. What do you got this week, Corey?
Yep. Well, then, like you had said, this time of year, them shows kick off. The Down with the Cause show there in Iowa was last weekend. We had the Jordan Mack Memorial Show up here in South Dakota. Had another one in Howard, South Dakota up here. I know there were several of them out east in Ohio and Indiana. It's just that time of year. Like we just talked, you got Oklahoma AGR coming up next weekend. You've got Sneak a Peek in Nebraska next weekend. You got the big Kansas AGR down there in Kansas in 2 weeks. And then the week after that, you've got Nebraska AGR for shows kind of in the Midwest here.
Right. Yeah, I can't wait. I can't wait to as we get into the month of December. December's big for the cattle business. Not only with the shows, but hey, we end the year with some big time production sales coming up too.
Absolutely,
it's always they're always anticipated. So
yep, and hopefully we're going to get most of them on Drive Marketing here in the next couple of weeks.
That's exactly right. Those of you that are sitting around ringside listening in, the Drive Marketing deal is really taking off, and I know Corey's fielded several calls this week, and our book's filling up for the month of December. But we're excited about it.
A lot of good sales coming up for sure.
Yeah, absolutely, and we're thankful that we're going to get to highlight them through the drive. So, hey.
Exactly.
What about this week? What about football this week? You think Troy Jones? You think Troy Jones is okay?
Yeah, there's some of them Ohio people. They're struggling right now, Brett. To be sitting where they're sitting and to go up there to Ann Arbor and to get walloped like they did. Man, there's got to be some support groups out there in Ohio right now. Kevin Wendt, they said he's just in turmoil.
Right.
It's a sad day for that state right now. That's for sure.
Well, I guess it's sad. I mean, I guess on the flip side of it, there's probably some folks in Michigan right now that's slinging a little mud up on the fence, aren't they?
Yeah. That is in terms of rivalry. That's got to be one of the toughest rivalries in the country right there. The scarlet red of Ohio and the blue from Michigan. I mean, that's
exactly right. Yeah.
Matter of fact, the only one that could beat it is that one you guys got down there in Oklahoma, the in-state rivalry of Oklahoma and Oklahoma State.
You're right. Then you got this year. You got. Of course, that's my stomping grounds in Stillwater. I'm an OSU guy. I'm an OSU alum, and the thing about it, the record at Bedlam. It's a little lopsided, I would say, in terms of football. Oklahoma has always they've come out victorious.
Saturday, that came
out.
But
I can tell you, Right. I say this, the thing about Oklahoma State is we're well-rounded.
Yeah.
We win multiple national titles in multiple things, not just football.
Yep.
And so this year, Oklahoma State wins, and we didn't just beat them, Corey. We run their dadgum coach plumb out of the state.
Yeah.
OU's guy left and went to the West Coast. He was so embarrassed.
They asked him before the game if he was going to LSU, and he said he didn't lie. He said he wasn't. He's going.
No, he didn't.
He's going the other direction. He's going to go west.
Yeah. They said go west, young man. There's women and gold. So
women and gold.
But
hey, I just got to ask you. I just got to bring it up because we're trying to keep a balanced and fair show here, and trying to keep stuff fair. I had some people point this out today. And Paige, you got video of it?
We need this touchdown, Oklahoma. We need a touchdown. That's not going to help. Need 6 yards. Come on. He's open. Oh, this pass interference. Throw the flag. How do you not throw the flag? He's right. Throw the flag. Dude, that's hometown cooking. Bro.
It is hometown cooking, Big Daddy. I don't care. I'll take it all day long. So, hey, I'll tell you something about that. Had OU won, we would have complained about the refs too.
Oh yeah, I know. I just
exactly. I do love it. Yeah, I do like it. Yeah, exactly. Not everybody knew. Most of those guys there, we had hired them. They were actually from Oklahoma State. So
they were Oklahoma State.
Hey, speaking of running west, Donnie Ray is not with us tonight.
I know.
No market report for the night. Donnie Ray he's headed to Vegas. He is going to the NFR. So we will probably next week get the most outlandish NFR version of Donnie Ray that we've had in quite some time. So
he'll be educated for sure.
Speaking of educated, we go from one Donnie Ray to I think his brother, Jake Ray. I don't know where he's at. Is Jake around? Is he on tonight? Do we get?
Hey!
Oh, there
What are you boys up to tonight? Talking smack about football? Are you kidding me?
Love it. Well, hey, I'm sorry it was so last minute asking you to be on here today. Did you have time for a spray tan before you were on big city lights or?
No, they don't have spray tans available in Marshfield, Missouri.
Oh, I love you, Jake.
But I tried to find one real quick. I know I'm looking kind of pasty tonight.
Pasty? No, you always look good.
Yeah, it's been a good week. It's just I told John, I said the 1st of October, I said, we're going to wake up tomorrow and it's going to be classic time. Well, guess what? It feels like tomorrow is going to be classic already. So, this sales season has flown by and this week has been great. But it's just like every week. I mean, these sales have been really strong. And hey, I appreciate you asking me on here to kind of give you a little bit of report what I found.
Yeah. Hey, where you been this week? Give us some CCI report stuff. Where have you been this week? And tell us some highlights of those sales.
Okay. Well, first of all, I drove back to the Midwest, back to Indiana and Illinois this weekend. Of course, Jeff Paulson, everybody kind of keep Jeff in their prayers. He kind of canceled his sale this year due to a few little heart issues, but he's doing better. But he had a pasture sale online deal throughout the weekend. Bids closed last night at sundown. So Jeff's doing great. He had a great sale. I don't have the report for that, but just everybody kind of keep Jeff Paulson in their prayers. He's needing a little support right now to get through a little health issues, but he'll get through them. Then I went through, I didn't go to this sale, but on Saturday, Dameron Angus had a great sale this weekend. It was on CCI.live. Cody Louderman actually sold that sale. Those guys sold 34 open heifers for a $16,000 average. Had 26 bred heifers that averaged $47.40. Had 60 total lots, averaged $11,120, and they sold a flush for $27,000. That happened to be on the national champion junior at the junior national this summer. Flush brought $27,000. So they had a top seller at a 24K heifer bring $115,000, and then they had another C5 Cheyenne female that brought $80,000. So a great sale at that. And then also on Saturday, sale I went to was at Trinipole Semitoles back in Middletown, Indiana. They sold 17 opens, averaged 19,862. We sold a Berwick heifer out of the Great Serena cow, brought 150,000. Just a big-bodied, stout-built one, really good female. And then they sold a 24-carat half-blood out of a broker. Thank you. That brought 50,000. So, hey, it was a darn good sale. They sold 24 breds that averaged 34.02, and they had 22 cows that averaged 36.91. So, a really good sale there also. Then I got a sale report out of Kansas on Diamond M's. Mark Mueller and Matt Mueller and crew. They had a great sale there. They sold 60 lots of cattle, averaged 69.01. Sold a top seller was actually a Maine that brought 37,000, and then they had a purebred semi bring 20, and then they sold a flush on Loaded Up's full sister, that great Annabelle 3A heifer, and brought 17,000. So they averaged 77.52 on their opens and 53.40 on their bred. So great sale there in Hiawatha, Kansas. And then the sale that I managed over the weekend was Rudo Family Cattle. Great people, Bill and Nancy Rudo, there at Pana, Illinois. I had Colonel Bonham come join me, and we put on an auction yesterday, and we averaged $54.90 on 51 bred females. Topped the sale with a $22,000 original daughter of Missing Link. Great future donor for that new family. And then we sold their top selling cow was $19,000, which went to Canada. And then that cow had a red Angus female that brought $7,500, also went to Canada. So those cattle are all kind of OCC bred, big bodied, good looking belly draggers. And man, what a set of females. And we had a great sale for that family yesterday.
Right. Oh, that's awesome, Jake. Good deal. Hey, thank you for coming on. Thank you for being part of the gig tonight and news from the road, I should say.
Yeah. Well, hey, you guys have a great show, and I'm going to put the hammer down and go to Stillwater tonight. I bet you they're still partying in the streets.
Oh, don't you know they are? That's good. That is good. Hey, Jake, thank you for being on tonight. We'll catch up with you this week.
See you, boys.
Thanks
yes,
a lot,
sir.
Jake.
Man,
All righty.
always entertaining.
Yeah, boy, he is.
entertaining,
He's quite they broke the mold when they made that one.
Yes, they did. Hey, we've got just a couple of little deals here. SC Online Sales, Halverson Ranch. My good buddy Sam is my neighbor, lives around the corner. Sells 11 head, average 4,000, with a high of 12,000 the other night. Todd Fair, California, sells a Charolais female for 14,500. Hollenberg Cattle sells an Angus heifer for 87.50. Richland Farms sells a cow for 92.50, one for 8,000. Cattle sold to 13 states. Lee's Simmental sells a purebred semi for 31.5 this week on SC Online Sales. So listening to Kent, looking at the SC report we get, hey, it looks like good time to be selling good quality cattle to me.
Yeah, for a holiday week, a short week, there's a lot of cattle sold high this week.
Absolutely. Hey, let's get into the big stuff today, the meat and potatoes segment. I'm excited. A longtime friend of mine is on tonight, and I think Paige is going to be able to drag him in here if we can. Hopefully we can get him peeled. There he is. Hello, Justin.
Hi, guys.
How are you doing?
I'm doing real well. I've enjoyed your show so far.
Well, thank you. Hey, it's a pleasure. It's an honor to have you on here tonight. I was just telling Corey that our friendship stems back from my days of living in Northeast Oklahoma and the getting to run in and meet you. And it's a friendship that I'm very happy for. It's been a pleasure to
Me
know
too.
you and to see what all you've done in rodeo. So I could brag on you all day long. I brought you on here. I want you to tell us a little bit about Justin McKee.
Well, thank you. It's an honor to be here, and I'm excited to be here. And you and I have had some good memories over the years, and I know what you guys have. I know a lot of your people are watching this show, and they've got a preconceived idea about the old rodeo bum here. And I go way back in purebred circles, you know. And as a matter of fact, I didn't realize how far back into the purebred stock show business I go. I got to thinking about it just a few minutes ago. I was born when my dad was on the college rodeo team at Kansas State University. Not rodeo team, on the judging team. Sorry.
Okay.
I skipped a line on there. But it goes further than that. The story goes that when my dad was on the judging team at K-State, was that the judging team started doing some math when I was born, and they went back 9 months and realized I was conceived at the Fort Worth Stock Show. Therefore, his judging team still today calls me Little Tex.
Oh gosh, Little Tex. Hey, and so from the loins of a livestock judger, we hear. Tell us, you grew up southeast Kansas, just a huge town. Tell me about Edna, Kansas.
Well, I grew up in a little bitty town of Edna, Kansas. There on the Kansas-Oklahoma line, about 2.5 hours southeast of Wichita, about an hour west of Joplin, in Labette County, Edna, Kansas. But there's a lot of people knows about Edna, Kansas, both in the rodeo world and the purebred cattle business. Scott Manley, he's quite a bit older than me, but he's from there. Doug Paul is from Edna, Kansas. Gerald Callahan is way older than me. I really didn't even know Gerald, but he grew up just down across the Oklahoma line, 6 or 8 miles from my place where I grew up. And so, yeah, right there amongst a lot of people that you know. I actually went to Labette County High School and was on the state FFA winning judging team my junior year, and was planning on going and judging at Coffeyville or Fort Scott, and then heading on to K-State. But I got elected state FFA president, and I kind of detoured the junior colleges, went straight to K-State. Met a blonde that was going to NEO, which is just down the road, northeastern Oklahoma, A&M in the process. And then I followed her to Oklahoma State. And so I've got a lot of connections going to K-State and Oklahoma State with roots.
There you go. Good. So, hey, you know, I laughed at you earlier when I called you and just kind of let you know about tonight, but I called you Mr. Cowboy Channel, and I bragged on you about being the voice of pro rodeo. You know, I don't know if those are two titles that you just love, or that's just two ways that I like to think of Justin McKee. But, you know, obviously your involvement as a rodeo announcer has put you in position. Obviously now you're with the Cowboy Channel. And I think that's where people would get to see you most today. Walk us through that. How did that start? You know, where did you go? You know, you obviously didn't become Mr. Cowboy Channel overnight. So how did we get there?
How far back do you want me to go?
You just tell me what you want us to know.
Well, let me see if I can give you the speed version. Our FFA
Okay.
chapter there at Labette County in Edna, Kansas, a modern day Mayberry, by the way. We put on an FFA, a junior rodeo, and the FFA president usually announced it, and I did. And I loved riding bulls and roping and everything I could do in rodeo, and I loved that. And anyway, I just realized, man, I really like this announcing deal. And Mike Samples got me with Jimmy Crothers, who was putting on a high school rodeo soon after that. And I announced that one, and then I knew that's what I wanted to do. Went to K-State. During our K-State rodeo, did a little sponsor announcing. Bronk Rumford, who was a PRCA stock contractor, was there, encouraged me, and set me up for success. Went to a Bob Tallman announcer school. After a brief meeting with him at Wichita one night at a Bull Riders Only, he took me under his wing, and he set me up. He took me to the national finals after 2 years of announcing amateur rodeos and introduced me to everybody. I got all of his leftovers, and Boyd Pulhamus and Hadley Barrett and Randy Corley. I got their leftovers the first year. Bronk Rumford had me busy. And so in 1993, my first year, I was getting after it. And then the phone call that really changed everything was a phone call from Tuff Hedeman. I'm literally sorting cattle at the back of my dad's sale barn in Parsons, Kansas. And of course, there wasn't any cell phones back then. They paged me to come up and grab this phone call, and I answered it. And on the other line, this guy said, "Hey, Justin, this is Tuff Hedeman." I said, "No, really, who is this?" And he said, "Tuff Hedeman." He said, "I was riding at Tulsa last week when you were announcing the rodeo there. I want you to come announce a bull ride, and we're calling it the PBR next week in North Carolina." And I thought that sounded better than sorting cattle at the sale barn, so I went, and I ended up announcing the PBRs the first 7 years. Then I went to television for 10 years for the PBR. And then they hired a new muckety-muck TV producer from LA, and he fired me around 2010. And we just bought the place across the road and doubled the size of our house. But I wanted to go home and ranch anyway. I kept telling Leah Garcia, who still does a lot of the interviews, I said, "Leah, I'm just 1 year away from getting enough cows paid for. I'm going home to ranch." And so it wasn't too bad. And we started a little cowboy church, got involved in the community, got to go to my daughter's high school rodeos. And then Patrick Gotch, who I'd worked for, who owns the Cowboy Channel and RFD, I'd done some work through the PBR years for them, and I'd also did RFD's The American at AT&T Stadium. I did that broadcast every year. He called me one day a couple of years ago, and he said, "Hey, I want you to come to work. I'm starting this Cowboy Channel full time." I said, "Man, I've kind of got a pretty good little cattle gig right here at the house, doing my own thing." And I was leasing some ranches and thought I had it made, and I said, "Thanks, but no thanks." And then he called me back a few months later, and he said, "Hey, I just signed the PRCA, the Pro Rodeo Cowboy Association, to a 6-year deal. Will you come to work for me?" And I said, "Well, you certainly have my attention." And soon after that, I said, yes. We sold the ranch in Lenapaw, Oklahoma that we'd had since my wife and I got married. And we moved to Texas, and I've been with the Cowboy Channel now for 2 years. And this is actually I also used to do the pregame show for RFD TV and the Cowboy Channel before it was a full-fledged network for the last 4 years. And so here we are, full-time in the Cowboy Channel. I'm hosting several things this year. I'm hosting the first hour of the tailgate party, which comes on 4:30 Eastern time. And then at 8 o'clock, I'll host the pregame show with Trevor Brazil, 26-time world champion. I'll host the post-game show with Joe Beaver and Luke Branquino and everybody. And it'll be 10 days. And I'm just mashing on the accelerator right now, trying to get ready for it.
Awesome.
Did you do some rodeoing yourself, Justin, growing up?
I did a little bit. Yeah, I was ate up with bull riding. Matter of fact, my dad, since he was working at several sale barns and he was an order buyer, I was ate up from the time I could walk with bull riding. And of course, we had horses, and my mom liked horses, so we always had horses. And I wanted to ride bulls. And I was a real aggressive young kid and had very little fear. And I would go. I can remember when I was 3 or 4 years old, going to an amateur rodeo that my folks were watching, or the Coffeyville Pro Rodeo, going back to them bullpens. I mean, literally, if if mom and dad would have said, you can get on those bulls, I would have gotten on one without hesitation. And I told him that. And Dad said, hang on. Let's hold up just a little bit. And he showed up one day. He'd been at the sale barn. He bought a high horn, big hump, bronco face, fully mature bull. However, he was a little bit of a dwarf. Brought him home in the stock racks. And he and my uncle got him behind the gate, and I borrowed a junior bull rope from Ralph Waite. There's a lot of people may remember the old auctioneer from Northeast Oklahoma. Ralph Waite, his kids, Shane and Buck and Kyle and them, they used to rodeo a lot, and so I borrowed a little steer rope, and man, I started my bull riding career right then, and then that went out of style when my shoulders started coming out later in high school. But we had an arena. By the time I was 11 or 12 years old, my dad, he knew I was ate up with rodeo, and we had the local arena there in Edna, Kansas, where everybody kind of showed up on Sunday afternoons, and we roped most all Sundays in the summertime. And then I married Jeannie Straub, and her dad was a professional roper, or rodeoed in the PRCA, and her uncle was a 5-time world champion, Shote Webster. And fast forward, I started tripping steers, hung out, kind of lived with Guy Allen a few weeks at a time, the guy who won more steer roping titles than anybody. And I entered pro rodeos for 20 years, finished in the top 35 a couple times, finished 18th in the world, just missed the NFR one year. And anyway, just made the circuit finals in single steer roping a few times. So yeah, I competed up until just a few years ago, and still like to team rope when I get the chance, but that doesn't happen very often.
Hey,
what about it? Yep.
I kind of heard through the grapevine one, and it may be a rumor, but do you hold the arena record at Cheyenne?
As a matter of fact, I do.
As a matter of fact, I do.
And it was told to me, Justin, that did you do that while you were announcing that night?
I did. As a matter of fact, it was kind of fun to watch the newspaper and watch the TV channels and the radio people at Cheyenne. Matter of fact, I just ran across, I was looking for some old pictures. I ran across the front page of the sports news, and the headline says, "The announcer did what?" And there was, I made the short round at Cheyenne with somebody else and go get on the horse 5 times. And I did the same thing at Pendleton. I won 2nd, 3rd, and 4th at Pendleton. I was that close to winning Pendleton several times. I had great success. I was announcing Pendleton, stepped out of the announcer stand all of those times too. No, I didn't the first year. I was just competing. But anyway, yeah, that
wow.
Steer roping got in my blood, and
do you announce Cheyenne from horseback, or do you were you up there in the stands and then came down, got on your horse, and?
I was up in the announcer's stand, and I went straight down, crawled over the buck and chutes, and I had somebody with my horse, crawled on my horse, and then went and rode in the box.
Backed into the box and set the arena record. That's quite a story. That's awesome.
Hey, Justin, let's get kind of into this in the moment with the national finals approaching us this week. And, you know, for some of us that watch rodeo year round, it's one thing, but I know we have some viewers that's going to watch the Cattle Drive Live that they get into so-called national finals experience, or they get into the moment or the week of national finals. Tell us something. What is the current state of pro rodeo? In your opinion, where is pro rodeo today?
You know, I wasn't alive in the 50s or early 60s, or I'm a 68 model. That's when I was born. They tell me that was the golden age of rodeo this year. I think this is one of the greatest years that rodeo was ever known for a lot of reasons. I think because our country has fallen off the common sense cliff here lately, the last couple of years, that there's a lot of people that may not have been interested in agrarian lifestyle or cowboy anything. They're looking for something that's real. They're looking for something that might be gritty and might be dangerous. And a lot of times that looks like a cowboy, because a cowboy is a symbol of America around the world. And people are gravitating to John Wayne movies because they want something that's raw, and they want a good guy to win and use some common sense and do what needs to be done. And for some reason, and the other thing was they were locked up for a year. So people have flooded the grandstands and rodeos all over the country. Record attendance, record numbers, record number of cowboy hats. Resistol cannot make these things fast enough. Justin Boots cannot make boots fast enough. This is very, very similar to the urban cowboy craze in 1979 or 80 when that movie came out and everybody went to buying boots and hats and going to Gillies or something, you know, honky tonk and stuff. Now, I remember that as a kid, and it was crazy. But that's what's going on in rodeo. Not to mention, we have a full-time network now called the Cowboy Channel that has acquainted people throughout this whole year and a half, 2 years, with the personalities. And so now people are invested. They are certainly are way deeper, more deeply involved in these stories than they ever have been. Used to, before the Cowboy Channel, people would just show up at the NFR, start watching it, and just kind of get a storyline here and there. And then by round 10, you were just getting ready to put the pieces of some of these storylines together, and then it was over. So now we have a real sport with a real network, with real storylines and real personalities that people are engaging and connecting with all these different people they want to pull for. They know the animals better. They know what's at stake better. And this is going to be a tart chopper. Last year, the Cowboy Channel had twice as many viewers as CBS Sports had done on their best year televising the NFR.
Really?
Wow, that's awesome. That's spectacular. Hey, you hit on that storyline there, Justin. What are some of the hot storylines? Can you tip us off of things that a guy needs to keep an eye out for this year at the NFR?
Just so happens I know a couple. And I'll start with Stetson Wright. Stetson Wright, 2 years ago in 2019, showed up as a rookie in the bull riding. Of course, the Wright family is from Utah, and everybody in that family rides bucking horses. They're saddle bronc riders. His daddy's a world champion. His brother's a two-time world champion, Ryder Wright. His uncle, Spencer Wright, and Jesse Wright, they're all world champions. It's the biggest bronc riding family, bigger than the Etbauer family. And so young Stetson shows up. He's 19 years old. He's a rookie in 2019. He wins the World All-Around Championship. Then last year, he won it big time. He won it. He made it to the NFR in the saddle bronc riding and the bull riding. And he beat Sage Kimsey for the bull riding world championship. And now this year, all he does is set the all-time earnings record for the most money won in a regular season. He blows past Trevor Brazil in this regular season. My prediction is, well, let me first say the storyline of the year is how much money is Stetson Wright going to win? The all-time end of the year after the NFR money mark is Trevor Brazil with $518,000. I think Stetson Wright's going to blow past that about round 4, and he's going to win $700,000, $800,000 this year in pro rodeo.
Wow.
That's
hey, if that right there doesn't make a young'un want to try to pro rodeo, I don't know if anybody ever want to do it then. It's incredible. Hey, what about?
Yeah, there's a lot of good reasons there's a lot of good reasons. The junior events are just slammed with people. The entries at rodeos are all over the place. Everybody wants to be a champion cowboy or cowgirl. You got Haley Kinsel. one of the greatest role models that we've ever had as a female in rodeo. She's a rock star, trying to win her 4th world championship on a yellow horse called Sister that she's had since that mare was just a colt. And they've been setting records. I mean, they've got the record, the all-time standard pattern record. They got the record at Thomas and Mack from 2019. They're just almost unbeatable. You got that going on. You got in the bareback riding, you got Casey Field and Tilden Hooper. Those guys have been traveling together their whole career. Tilden has never won a world championship. Casey won 5. Casey Field won 5 world championships. Tilden, though, comes in number 1. And Casey Field's trying to win world title number 6. And guess what? One more than Bruce Ford and Joe Alexander with 6 world titles outright. But he's got to get past his best friend in the world who sits ahead of him in the number 1 spot. And then there's a 3-time world champion named Tim O'Connell that wants to beat them both bad. And so the bareback riding, I think, has got more storylines than Yellowstone right now.
I love it. Hey, Justin, I got to tell you, man, we kind of got to wrap up our gig here with you. And I got to tell you, it's been an absolute pleasure. I hope we haven't dug into your time too much tonight, that maybe after the NFR, we can maybe get a little wrap up with you, or maybe prior to the American, we could figure out a way to have you back on. It's easy to see your passion about rodeo. It's easy to see why you've had success and what you've done is because you work at it and you try. And man, I appreciate you being on tonight.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Okay.
It's an honor.
So
appreciate what you guys are doing for the industry.
Hey, we appreciate it. Hey, we're just trying to follow in some of your footsteps, and maybe you'll sling a few crumbs out on the ground for old Corey now to come by and grab. So,
yeah.
But anyway,
Sounds
hey, you
good.
have a good week this week. Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thanks, Justin.
Hey, man, you talk about a guy. He's like a NFR encyclopedia.
Oh, man. I bet you he could tell stories all night long.
Well, I mean, I hated to wrap him up, but I mean, it was just we could just go on, and I'm looking forward to get to watch him. Get to watch him this next week or 10 days as in those pregame shows. But hey, I got a surprise for you.
You do?
I don't even know if you know this. There's a guy that's logged in tonight. Where he's from Southern Oklahoma. I don't think Paige can patch him in here. Maybe. There he is. Hello, H.
Hey there.
How you doing?
Let me get. How are you guys?
Hey, we're doing just fine. That HD. I'm sitting here with Corey Thompson. He's in South Dakota, and you're in Dixon, and I'm sitting here in Stratford. And I know you're busy, and from the looks of it, you're not in the house yet.
Oh, I had a horn infection I had to tend to. So.
I gotcha. Hey, so this week on our show is all things National Finals Rodeo, and felt like it was no better thing than to have you on here to talk just real quick about 43C Chiseled.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
Absolutely, yeah. So hey, tell us about him.
What's that?
Tell us a little bit about Chiseled real quick.
Oh, he's a Stone Sober son. Stone Sober just missed, winning the Bull of the Year in the PBR a couple of times. He was in the running, but Chiseled's been this is his second time to win Bull of the Year in the PRCA, and he was a ABBI Classic champion, and he's just had a remarkable career, and he's just a cool bull. He's got the best personality. He's just easygoing, and he's just a big, stout, athletic thing that just you want to keep him in your front yard. He's just a big old teddy bear outside the arena.
Right.
But when they load him in the buck and shoot, he turns the switch on. He's just a remarkable athlete, and just got tons of try. And it's why we do what we do when you get a chance to raise one like him.
Absolutely. Yep, you bet. Hey, so this is obviously for you guys, this is the 20 and 21 world champion bucking bull in pro rodeo, but that's not your first one, is it?
No, Shepherd Hills Tested won it once, and Bruiser won it once. This will be the Crossfire Hurricane was reserved one year. I think Bruiser might have been reserved a couple of years, but
Okay, gotcha. So no stranger, the D&H crew and the Powder River crew, sure, no stranger to that side of being crowned world champion. But for you guys,
it's a great honor. You know, a guy don't want to take it lightly because there's a lot of guys that never happens for, and it was a dream of mine when I was a kid. I seen, Don Kish and Dan Russell and Sammy Andrews and all those guys I looked up to, had those great bulls. So it's an honor just to be mentioned with those guys.
Right. Hey, Corey, didn't you have something you were going to quiz H about, not only just as a breeder, but what was this about him riding?
Yeah, I just did a little research here, HD. You were a bull rider yourself back in the day, as they tell me.
I was a struggling bull rider.
I was
adding money most of the
time. We found an old picture from 1990 with you attempting. Did you cover Bodacious, or did you get?
No, I was just at 3 notches in his pistols. All I was. Once when he was, that picture was actually when he was, I think he was a long 2-year-old. He might have been a 3-year-old then. I can't remember for sure, but he was a little bitty shoot buster then. I say little. He probably weighed 1,400 then, but I got on him twice a couple of years later when he's a full grown man. He was a big scary thing then. But I got real close to riding him once, and I think that one guy got me for slapping him, but he had embarrassed me the week before at 8 Oklahoma in front of my hometown crowd, and my buddy KJ Fletcher, at the time we was rodeoing together, and he talked me into wearing this helmet that he had. I wear like a small 7, and he wears like a 7 and almost an 8, I think. And that helmet didn't fit me, but he had me convinced I was going to die if I didn't wear it. So I put that thing on, and I about did die because it turned around sideways, and I was trying to get away from that big mean sucker and looking out the ear hole, right there in front of all my friends and family.
Oh, man.
When I got home,
and that was a football helmet.
We were entered in another Sammy Andrews rodeo the next week. I think it was Athens or Longview. I don't know. One of those two. Well, I called and got stock, and they said, "You got J31." I'm like, "Can you reshake them?" I got him again. So I watched Clint Bronga ride him on VCR. Back then, he just had VCRs, but I had to rewind that VCR. I bet I watched it 150 times that week, and I was pretty confident I was going to ride him. For some reason, I think I'd watched him ride him for so many times that week. I felt like I was Clint Bronga when I slid up there. So, but I rode him right to the whistle, and one of them got me for touching him.
I'll be dang.
But
hey, so
I'm just glad to get away from my life.
Oh, but that's right. Hey, so we could sit on here with you all night and let you tell war stories of the old KJ Pletcher days. But tell us something. There is some big news in pro rodeo. There's some big news in the PBRs right now that you guys, along with Gerald and Brenda Buck, have decided to retire an absolute legend in your world. Tell us about Bruiser and that decision.
Well, he don't owe us anything, and it's not. He just he suffered an injury 2 years right at the end of year before last, and it's essentially a suspensory tendon in a horse. I forget what they call it in a bull, but he tore that tendon, and he'll never be 100%. But he gets around good, and so like I said, and he had a good career, and I miss him every time I load the truck. You know, one like him, you don't ever replace. But yeah, we're gonna retire him. You know, I was reluctant on announcing it because I always thought I might get one more year out of him. But it doesn't look like that tendon's gonna ever completely heal up. But he gets around good. And like I said, we're gonna breed to him next year, and so
Gotcha.
he'll
Do
pay
you
us.
have calves out of him yet?
Yeah, I got some really good calves out of him.
Okay.
Yeah, and they look like him, buck like him, and they kind of even got his disposition a little bit. So
There you go.
You know, we figured out over the years that they can have some sense and still be great bucking bulls. We always thought if they wasn't trying to kill you every day that they wouldn't last, but Bruiser's proved me wrong on that deal.
Right, absolutely. Well, hey, we know you're busy. We appreciate you taking the time out of your evening to get on here and chat with us for just a minute. But hey, to you and your dad and your family and your partners, congratulations on Chiseled and his success.
Yeah, appreciate that.
Yes, sir.
Y'all have a good one. Thanks for having me on.
Thank you. Yes, sir, HD. Take care.
See you, Brett. See you.
Yes, sir. Hey, those guys are for real.
It's been quite a night.
Oh, it's been a long night. It's 47 minutes worth of pro rodeo.
We're
So
deep.
we about had a.
Shaved off. We could have gone for 3 more hours.
Oh, I'm telling you, we could have. We could have
got a lot of war stories.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, 2 big giants. Those of you that are still with us, or those of you that watch the end of this show, with the NFR coming up, tune into the Cowboy Channel. You'll get to see Justin in his element and watch the bull riding, and you'll get to see bulls from D&H Cattle Company as well as Powder River Rodeo. That's their partner within Pro Rodeo. So, but Corey, big night, long night.
You bet. Ready to wrap us up, Brett?
Absolutely. Let's throw in here segment 6, Cattlemen for Christ. I won't be very long. It's Philippians 4:13. It's actually my grandmother. I think it's my grandmother's favorite. It's her all-time favorite verse, and it's, I can do all things through Christ who gives me strength. And I feel like that's how it's been with me and you and Paige with this endeavor here. I know that I can come in on a Monday afternoon and we've got to scramble around and get some stuff situated here. And I feel like sometimes I know you and Paige are more help than anything in the world for me, and ideas and organization. But I'll tell you, it can be overwhelming at times. And I go back and think of what my grandma said, that you can do anything you want to with the help of Jesus Christ. And so I'll leave that with you for this week. And hey, next week, big week of livestock shows. We'll probably bust into some of that stuff, Corey. What do you think?
You bet. There's a bunch of great sales this week. There's going to be a lot of showing. We still haven't came up with a guest next week, but I'm sure it's going to be a good one. Yeah,
exactly. Hey, we didn't know the guest we were going to have this week till about 4:30 this afternoon. So but that's okay. Yep. Hey, I had a good time. Corey, thanks, and see you next Monday night, buddy.
You bet. Take care, man.
Yes, sir.